Everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shira David Baruch Hashem. It's almost there of Pesach. I hope everyone's preparations are going well, and they're well on the way. It's now or never, pretty much. And it was very nice of our neighbors to send us our siren this morning. The time to wake us up in order to get to the night space. Baruch Hashem. All right, Baruch Hashem. Hey, listen, they can do it already, man. So be, yeah, and then Baruch Hashem, Haidul Hashem Kitayv. Yeah. I was speaking yesterday to a lady called me up. One of our listeners, she says to me, I need help. I said, well, what do you need help for? She says, I just finished making my chicken soup for Pesach. She said, this is what she said. I made so much soup. She said, I backed it in the pot, and the things are ready, everything. And then I realized that the chicken soup mix that I added, and I put a little bit in for flavor, she said. She put a little chicken soup mix for flavor in the chicken soup. It wasn't kosher for Pesach.
Right.
So what she should do? So I said to her, it's fine. I said, how much chicken soup do you make? Oh, I must have made at least the 7 or 8 quarts. That's a lot of chicken soup, right? That's a lot of chicken soup. And I said, and how much chicken soup mix did you put in? It's 3 teaspoons. So I said, it's no problem at all. Your chicken soup is fine. She said to me, but why? I said, because Erev Pesach, before Pesach, there's something called Taruvais Chametz, right? Taruvais Chametz. There's something mixed in. It's mixed in Chametz. There's a concept of bittul. You can nullify it. It can be nullified. Before Pesach. Not if she would have made the same soup tomorrow. Let's say she made it Erev Pesach. After the Zaman of Chametz, doesn't work. Then she has to throw it out. See that? And it's a very, very important thing, and people have to understand that. For example, even if it goes so far, that let's say someone dropped a piece of a kid was playing in the house, and then you're cooking the soup, and he had a little piece of pretzel, and he threw it and landed in the pot. Right, yeah. A piece of pretzel. How much chametz? The soup mix, I don't know how much chametz there is in the soup mix anyway, but let's go even take it one step further. You took a piece of chametz, a piece of pretzel, chametz, right? No problem. So if in that same pot, it'll be no problem.
Because it's before Pesach.
Before Pesach, so it's a nullified. You can nullify the disqualifying agent before Passover, not on Passover.
How do you nullify it?
Because if there's more than 60 times,
but how do you nullify it?
it gets nullified by itself because there's more than 60 times of the amount of whatever you're mixing it with. So therefore, it gets nullified. You understand? But not on Pesach. On Pesach, even if they take a little crumb of the pretzel, a crumb. And it falls in a big, giant pot. It could be 100 gallons. You can't use it. Because there's no bittul at all on Pesach. That's why it's very good to do all your preparation before Pesach. You don't have to worry about anything. Yeah, okay. But Shalom, you like that? It's good? Yeah, people have to understand this. It's important to know halach, because if you know how to. Yeah, okay, anyway, all right. So listen, we're learning.
You made her happy.
Baruch Hashem. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. You have to find people a way to be happy and understand halach. Very good. Okay, we're learning Hilchas Birchas Hareyach. The laws of even when you smell something, remember to connect to Hashem. Remember to bring Hashem in our lives, and that's why we have the 100 brachas every day, right? We make 100 brachas always to remember Hashem and bring Hashem into our lives. It's very, very important, and it's a very comforting thing, especially in this crazy world that we live today, right? We're in Halacha Dalid, which is 4, and we're up today to Chav Gimel 23. Okay. So today we're going to go on another concept. It's going to be an amazing concept. Here we go. V'zeh bechinas Elokai meiteman yavai. What does that mean? Hashem comes from Teman, right? What does that mean? Yeah. I understand. But what does that mean? He came from Teman. He came from the south. Why does he cut? What does that mean? So Rashi says that this is going on Kabbalah Satorah, and Hashem came from all the other nations. He came from all the other nations, asking them, "Would you like the Torah? Would you like the Torah? Would you like the Torah?" And everyone turned him down. So as Elekei meiteman yavoi, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu come after he asked all the other nations, and then it says, "V'ksiv Hashem misinai ba." Yavai ba. He went and he came. He arrived. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu came to Har Sinai the same way the Chassan and the Kala meet at the Chuppah, right? The Chassan comes to the Kala. The chassan's at the chuppah, and the kala comes to greet. That was the idea of us meeting Hakadosh Baruch Hu at Har Sinai. The chassan meets the kala. Very nice idea, right? V'zerach miseir lamai haifia mehar paran v'dosha b'sein zon Al zeh melamed shehechse HaKadosh Baruch Hu al kol oivdei kechavim sheikablas hatayv v'loi ratzu. Okay, so it says here, v'zarach meseir lamai haifia mehar paran. So what does Chazal say? That Hashem went to all these different places, that he wanted to give them the Torah, and then no one wanted. He went to Esav, and he asked Esav, what does it say? It says you can't kill. Esav said, well that's what I live by my sword. Right, I got to kill. Then he went to Yishmael, and Yishmael said, you can't be involved in adultery, you can't be immoral, but that's what we are. We're very immoral people. We can't. We can't. So they said no, and everyone Hashem went to each nation and told them, hey, would you like the Torah? And they asked, what does it say? What does it say in the Torah? And he told them something that they would know, that he, of course, Hashem knows the need of every person. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of course, just did this so that they can never come back and say, hey, Hashem, you gave the Torah to the Jewish people. You didn't give us a chance. So Hashem gave them a chance first. And they all said no. But we said Nasa v'nishma, right? We didn't ask Hashem what's in the Torah. Hashem said, we'll give you the Torah. We didn't ask him what's in the Torah. We said, Nasa v'nishma. We'll listen and we'll do. Hashem showed us an idea, a hero, right? Hirurei tshuva, to have a thought of tshuva. It's so important, even a thought of tshuva. Tshuva is great, of course. But even if someone has a thought or two, I want to be better. That's amazing. Even I want to be better. A thought or two. But all of those nations, they didn't want to come back. They didn't want to come back. They didn't want to accept it. And therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu loathed them. Was loathed by them, right? The fact that he offered them the blueprint of all creation. Can you imagine that? He offered them the blueprint of all creation. The blueprint, the Torah is the blueprint of all answers to any problem, anywhere. It's all in the Torah. The answers are all in the Torah. And he offered it to them, and we don't want that. We don't want that. Ufali Yisov Tekev Heir Aleim Behelem Hara. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us this hara. He gave us this awakening, this light. we felt something. Nisoyru loshav elav hayedei zeh bahar bachar bahem mikol ha'amim. And therefore, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu came to all the other nations, and He gave them an opportunity, He gave them an idea of tshuva. He gave them an, oh, you can come back. Hey, you made your mistakes, but you still can come back now. No, we don't want it. But He came to Klal Yisrael, and we had our problems and our shortcomings as well. But we accepted HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's why Hashem chose us. You understand? That's why Hashem chose us from all the other nations. How did He choose us from all the other nations? Because He went to all the other nations. And all the other nations said, no, thank you. Very kind, very politely, no, thank you. Hashem didn't like that. And He came to us, of course, and that's why we were the chosen nation, and we are the chosen nation. Aber machma shebechina zois. If shelohavim v'seichel enoishi klal eich Hashem yisbarach misgalgal im kol adam lekor vayela. How do we understand this? That Hashem comes down to all these people and He tries to come to everybody and He wants everyone to come back. Hashem really wants everyone to come back to do tshuva. How do we understand that? How do we understand that? Hashem comes to everybody, no matter who you are? Well, the Torah shows us that Hashem even came to Bilam. He was the lowest of the lowest of the low. There's no person that's more disgusting than Bilam was. But Hashem came to him, right? V'zeu soy tzisrei habechira. V'alkein nikroim Yisrael Am Segula. Therefore, we're called the Am Segula. This is the secret of Bechira. Again, everyone has Bechira. Right? Everyone has Bechira, free choice. So Hashem comes to everyone and He wants everyone to be able to do tshuva, to come back. Those here hear the message, sense the message, and act on the message. And then there are those that just choose to ignore it and silence it. What they'll do, they think there's something nagging in them. So what do? They go and they get some drugs. They go out and drink some alcohol because there's something nagging in them to come back to do tshuva. So they want to stifle that feeling. They want to stifle it. So they'll take some kind of a vice in order to desensitize it. Am sikula machma she'ef shel lohavin zois b'pnei ma bocha Yisrael mikol ha'amim. That why HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose us from all the other nations. And that's what we're dealing with today. All the nations know that. In their inner being. They all know that Hashem chose us. And they know that there was their own shortcoming, that they could have had the Torah also. That's why they that's why they despise us. Do you understand?
I'm thinking about when He did that. I mean, because if He did it at Har Sinai, when He gave it to us.
Before Har Sinai. Before we got to Sinai, He went to them.
Before we left Egypt?
No, after we left Egypt, before He gave us the Torah.
So then we saw some of Him before we accepted it.
And I got to tell you something, the whole world heard about it also.
That's right, they did.
All these nations heard about what was going on in Egypt, right? I mean, Egypt was the metropolis. Egypt was the main country in the world.
Yeah.
Certainly, everyone heard that what was going on in Egypt, right? When Hashem made Makkah's dumb, right? Everyone knew that the Egyptians worshipped the Nile. Everyone knew that, right? The Nile to them it never rains in Israel, in Egypt. It never rains in Egypt. Where did they get their parnasa from? From the Nile River. Oh, good morning, Sasha. They get it from the Nile River. What does it mean? Why the Nile River? Because the Nile River, it overflows, and it irrigates all of their fields. So to them, what do we need Hashem for? The Nile. So the Nile River to them was their God. Good morning, Zach. Good morning. We call Amim. Kamei shekatzu b'sreinis l'nevracha b'Torah Atika Tamir Sisam in Likutey Moran lesson 21. Shebeshvil zeh nikrayim Yisrael Am Sigula. We're called the Am Sigula because we did something above Teva. We went above Teva. We went above nature. And even though we didn't understand in nature, the nations of the world, they asked Hashem, what does it say in the Torah before and Hashem told them, and they said no. But we did something l'malam and a teva. We didn't even ask. We didn't ask. We just said Nasa v'nishma. We'll do what you tell us what to do. We'll do. We'll listen. We'll figure. We'll do it. Therefore, we're called the Am Sigula. Ayin Sham Ze Inyan. Ef Shalavina Klau. We don't understand how we had the ability even to do this. This was HaKadosh Baruch who helped us. Unbelievable. This is in every generation. We have this right now here. Right now. We all can choose Hashem. Right? We have the ability to choose to trust in Hashem. Right? We have that ability now. Even though it doesn't make sense. Again, it's L'malam and Teva. Teva says, if you're going to be safe in the world, you have to have very good missile defense systems. You have to have very, very good artillery. You have to have very good systems. No, but we believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and Hashem controls all of the systems. That's for us to believe that. Right? That's upon us to believe. That's above nature again. Does it make sense? How we come to learn these beautiful teachings and so many people have no idea. Why did Hashem choose us? We have no idea. We have no idea. We don't understand it, but we just know one thing. We can thank Hashem. Thank Hashem for all the beautiful things that Hashem does for us, how Hashem protects us all the time. Recognize Hashem. Again, Hilchas Birchas Harech, even when you smell something, remember Hashem. This is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to realize. The news out there, they drive you crazy. To do anything but to think of Hashem. That's all they do. Anything but to think of Hashem. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so righteous in all his ways, in every action he does. And let me tell you something, all of these missiles and all of these things, it's all part of Hashem's plan. For our Bechira again. We give credit to the Iranians, to the Hezbollah, to the Houthis, Hamas. No, they're all working for Hashem. That's the truth. They all work for us to be able to recognize Hashem. It's amazing. It's like a father testing his child. He gives a test to his child, right? A father tests a child, right? Why does he do that? He wants to help him, right? Hashem does these things for us to help us, but we get so carried away in the midst. We get so carried away in the events that are occurring. We forget where are these events originating. What's the purpose of these events? Right? You get it? Okay. Bevadai Gilgal Hashem Yisbarach Behelem Godol Im Kol Echad Sheyizkel Is Karev El Emes. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes down to every single one of them. Any person that really wants to find the truth. Could you imagine that? Any person that wants to find the truth, Hashem will come down to you. Ukifi his oirus shel kol echad kein hoylech oisei yisbarach l'rachik. Oilekarev. And it's upon the person. How do you, what do you choose? Again, this is Bechira, free choice. What do you choose? Are you going to choose to recognize Hashem, or are you going to go deep, deep, deep onto the other side and get involved in everything else? It's so apropos for today, right? This is so apropos for what we're dealing with right now, or what we dealt with this morning. At 5:30 in the morning, right? 5:30, right? Was it 5:30? Oh, you slept? No, I was up, but Baruch Hashem. Most of us here were up, right? Yeah. Kamay Shem Rasein Zchen Uvracha. B'derech Adam Reitze Leilech Melich and Aisai. Let the Gemara Makis on Daf Yud Amid Beis. I'm learning Masech Makis myself, Baruch Hashem. Anyway, that's where I'm up to, Baruch Hashem. B'derech Adam Reitze Leilech Melich and Aisai. The way you want to go, Hashem guide. You'll get assistance. You choose. Right? It's your choice.
That's how our algorithm of advertisements works. You know, like you start looking for something, and then suddenly you have like on all websites and platforms.
Malich and Isai. Right. Derech Adam right side. Malich and Isai. You type in one thing. Oh, Sach, that's a good one. That's a beauty. Right there. What he just said. That's a beauty. He said like this. The same idea works in the computer in Google and in searching. You type in one thing. You want this. That'll lead you to all the things of what you want. Wow, that was such a beautiful. Wow, that was a beauty. Wow. And therefore we're called Am Segula. I don't know if there's a translation for Segula. I don't know. I don't think there's a translation for the word segula. I think we all know what a segula is, right? Some people will say a segula is like a lucky rabbit's foot or something, something like that. But it's something special. That's lamala min ateva. That's why you can't describe it. Segula is something that's higher than nature, so therefore you can't describe it. It's either you know or you don't know. Like they say, V'ameivin Yavin, right? If you know, you know, right? So this is an amazing thing where HaKadosh Baruch Hu Mamish chose Klal Yisrael from all the other nations. But Hashem offered the Torah to all the other nations. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Elokai teman yavai, Hashem misinai ba, lama mehar paran, right? And he went from all these other Harseya, Harpara, and Hashem went from there. He went all over. And he offered them the Torah. And they asked him, what does it say inside there? And Hashem told them, each nation, he knew exactly what drove each nation, right? He knew what their desire, who they are. And Hashem told them, like we said, Esav, you can't kill. Esav said, how's that possible? I'm not going to kill. That's who I am. I have to kill, right? And so on and so forth. But when HaKadosh Baruch Hu came to us, we came and we accepted the Torah, hands with no questions. We didn't ask any questions. And therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose us from all the other nations. You understand? Now we understand why we were chosen from all the other nations. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu offered the Torah to all the other nations. And they said no. But we accepted it. So of course we were chosen then from all the other nations, and we become the Am Segula. Okay? Any questions on that? Such a beautiful idea. But again, the most important thing to take away from this is B'derech Adam Reitze Melich and Aisai. The way you want to go, the path you choose is the path that you're gonna get assistance in. If you want to get closer to Hashem, of course you will get closer to Hashem. Okay? Because Hashem will guide you. But if Chas v'Shalom, a person wants to run away from Hashem, there's no telling how far away that person will go. Right? But we don't have to worry about it. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu still cares about everyone. And even if the person made the wrong choices, HaKadosh Baruch Hu keeps going to the person each time and trying to help the person. Each time. And we said when the person does tshuva from where they are, the level where they are, even if they fell so low, how great that is. Right? Wherever the Baal Tshuva stands, even a big tzaddik can't go there because the person made all the mistakes and he turns around, he says, I made a mistake. Right? There's some people that know no matter what, they'll never admit they made a mistake. I know people like that. I know some people like that. No matter what happens, well, it was his fault, it was that one's fault. They'll never say, I made a mistake. Never. Can't say it. There are people like that. They just can't say, I made a mistake. They're not big enough. They're not big enough, right? That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves so much when a person does tshuva. Right? A person's on the wrong path, and he's making all these choices wrong. He's going down a very, very dark path. And he says, he stops, and he says, I made a mistake, and I want to come back. That's so precious by Hashem, right? But again, we have every time Hashem is coming to us, and Hashem is trying to guide us, and we have that bechira. And the bechira all stems from our imagination. Right? Remember we learned that, right? This is what the whole lesson's about. It's all by our imagination. If I imagine I can do better, and I imagine I can be close to Hashem, I imagine I can enjoy the Shabbos, I imagine I can enjoy my preparations for Pesach. Could you imagine that, right? Right? How many guys can imagine that? Right? How many guys can imagine that? But if you realize what you're doing, wow, Hashem is giving us the ability to cleanse ourselves from all the chametz, the sar shebeisa. Right? He's giving us this beautiful idea to be able to cleanse all the junk that's inside of us. They say from the tzaddikim that I think it was said over from the Kedushas Levi. The Kedushas Levi when it came to the Leil Seder, right? To the Leil tonight, or you have to the Ner the Arba Osa, right? Tonight we have the mitzvah. Tonight we have the mitzvah b'dikas chametz, right? So there's so many reasons why we do the b'dika. There's so many reasons. Al pi the Arizal writes that we have the minute to put out 10 pieces of bread, right? You put out 10, right? That's the minute, right? We all do that, right? Put out 10, right? Why 10? Why 10? Put out 1. Put out 2, put out 3. Why 10? You ever think of that? Why you have to put out 10? No, because the Arizal says, and we know it's Zelu Mazel Selikim. Hashem always creates everything equal. So he says that the 10, we have the 10 spheres, the 10 levels, right? And depending on how you start, is it Keser, Chachma, Bina? Is it Chachma, Bina, Das? Whatever. And Chesed, Vur, Tzeres, Netzachad, Yisod, and Malchus, right? That's 10. And then on the other side, you have the Esek, Kisrin, the Mistabusa, right? The 10 crowns of impurity, right? The 10 crowns of impurity, right? Zelu Mazeh. Everything is balanced. So what we're doing is we're trying to search out the 10 crowns of impurity from our lives, from our things that we're involved in our imagination, all that stuff that's not right. We want to pull it out, and then what do we do with it? We burn it. We want to eradicate it. I want to get rid of it. I want to burn it. Okay, you understand? That's what the idea. Okay. And therefore, like there was the tzaddik, the holy Kedushas Levi, and there was other tzaddikim, they would come to the Bedika, and they would do their Bedika, and then when they finished doing the Bedika, they'd open up their shirt. They'd open up their shirt and say, I want to search if there's any chametz in my heart. Again, understand that. Understand what they were trying to do. They were doing it, they were very sincere. Very, very, very sincere to understand that we have a lot of stuff that's holding us back from becoming the people we are, right? There's a lot of stuff holding us back. But this is the time Hashem gives us the ability to break all of those barriers, to break all of those challenges, all of those obstacles. We can break them now. This is the time. So if we do it right. Right? So it's nice. So we understand now that what we learned, that the whole idea is to choose Hashem. That's what the whole thing is. Hashem wants us to choose Him. Any questions on this? Any comments, questions? No. Okay. Can we do another piece? Yeah. Okay. Let's do Chav Dalet. Here we go. Okay. So now. when it comes to, we're going to keep no kichavda. L'shvil zeh koirim parshas b'midbar koidim shvuas. V'hu medaber mitzipa b'nei Yisrael k'may she'nosnu b'sein z'chon l'racha simen al zeh. And parshas b'midbar is always going to be before Chag HaShvuas. B'midbar is always before Shvuas. Minu v'itzru. Okay, that's the idea. That's the idea. You count, and then you have the Itzru is the Chag of Atzira, which is known as Shvuas, right? Chag, okay. Ki mispar b'nei Yisrael zeb bechinas beira medama. The number of the Jewish people is the idea of to be beira the medama, to always to clarify our medame, our imaginations. Is there ikar bechinas kabbalas hatayra b'shuas ki ikar beira hamedame hu al yedei nafshei Yisrael daika ki Yisrael she'amdu al hasinai posku zumasam zumas hanachashu bilbol hamedame. All right, let's understand this. Okay, what was this? What was the significance of coming? What was the significance of coming to Har Sinai? Right, we left Egypt. We did the Sfira. We went up, we raised up all the levels. We did such a good job. We did really such a good job getting to Har Sinai that the impurity that was placed into Chava from the Chet Eitz Hadas Tov Hara, right? The Nachash implanted his impurity in Chava. Chava is the mother of all creation, of all human beings, right? We were all tainted, we all were tainted with that impurity of the Nachash. And that's what we learned, that we said that the Hatoiv HaMeitiv, that Misa is a very good thing. Why is a Misa a good thing? When a person dies, it's a good thing, we learned. Why is that a good thing? Because we have in this world, our bodies are all tainted with the impurity of the snake that was implanted into Chava. And when a person passes away, his body goes back into the ground, into the Adama. Right? We learned the word Adama is like from the word Medame. Right? The same idea, right? It gets purified. So the body decomposes in the ground, and the body loses the impurity that was part of the Nachash. So when we have the resurrection of the dead, when the dead will come back, the resurrection of the dead, the bodies will come back cleansed and won't have any more of that impurity of the Nachash inside of them. But when we came to Har Sinai, we achieved the same thing. We achieved that. We achieved actually purifying ourselves so much so that we cleansed ourselves from the impurity of the Nachash while we were alive. That's pretty good. Yeah. It's an amazing idea. And what did the Nachash do? The Nachash was playing again with the mind, with the imagination. Right? Why is he talking about the imagination? Because what did Nachash do to Chava? Hey, Chava, Hashem said he doesn't want you to eat from this tree because, he ate from this tree, and because he ate from this tree, he became God. So Hashem doesn't want you to eat from this tree also, because if you eat from this tree, then Hashem will have competition. He doesn't like competition. Yeah, this chutzpah, the Nachash. But Chava was just created. What did she know? Right? What did she know? What did she know? So then what does the Nachash do next to her? The Nachash tells her, and Hashem said, you can't even touch a tree. You can't touch the tree. And she said, okay. But Hashem never said you can't touch the tree. He made a chumrah. Don't even touch the tree. So what does the Nachash do? He pushes Chava. Now, she touched the tree. Oh, you see that? See, now that Hashem said you're not allowed to touch the tree, and you touch the tree, and you're fine. So now she starts imagining, maybe maybe I can eat from the tree too. Imagining. Right? It's all part of the imagination. Koyach hamedam. All because, like Rabbi Nachman talks about this very much. We have enough mitzvahs. We have enough gedarim from the Rabbanim. We don't need to take on more chumras. Right? We don't need to take on more stringencies. Just follow what we have. It's good. Where did he learn this from? He learns this from the Nachash. The Nachash made a stringency. Right? Don't touch the tree. And she wound up sinning because she was pushed into the tree. She touched the tree, nothing happened. So then she winds up eating from the tree. Right? All because of the imagination. It's amazing.
Why would you have so many Gedorim and Chumras?
No, so what we do, but don't make some more for yourself. Whatever we have, and look in Shulchan Aruch, whatever we have, we follow that, and that's what we follow. But you don't need to take on more things. Don't follow what we have. Believe me, if you follow Shulchan Aruch, you're fine.
I mean, it's full of Chumras.
I understand, but these are chumras that we have. Don't add. There was a halacha also. Hashem said to Chava, "Don't eat from the tree." That was the halacha. She didn't have to. He didn't say, "Don't touch the tree." The Nachash made a chumrah on that. That's an example. You understand? Yeah. Okay. The whole idea of this tikkun of the imagination, the whole idea of the medama, is dependent on us to make the rectification. We have to do it. We're charged with this to do this. Shebishvilam nivru kol ha'olam, v'heim shoyresh achiyas shel kol ha'olam kulam, uvahem teluyim kulam. This is the source of life, and everything in this world, and everything's dependent upon it. As Rabbi Nachman writes in all this farm, and all the tzaddikim are writing about this. Why we said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu used the whole idea of medameh in order to make creation. Right? In other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu had his thought, whatever that means, and he had his imagination, again, whatever that means. I'm just saying it based on the context of the lessons that we learned, okay? This is not my ideas, this is based on the context. That Hashem had an idea, he had an imagination, and then that's how he made the Cholol HaPanui. That's how he made that voided space to allow for creation. So where did the whole creation come from? From imagination. So everything's dependent on fixing the imagination. There's something called the memutza. I'm going to use the translation of like an interface. A memutza is some kind of an interface. It's something in the center. Bein kol shinoi habruyim shabaylam. From all different changes, all different things in the world that were created. Ki bein doimim l'tzameach yesh memutza. From the idea from doimim to tzameach, there's this interface. There's something going on. We always said like each level, like the Kuzari writes. The Kuzari writes about this idea of doimim, tzameach, chai, medaber. Right? These are different levels. Each one has its memutza. Each one has its connection to the next thing. It's always bound to the next one. Like we said that the doimim is always striving. An inanimate object is always striving to become the tzemeach. It wants to become part of vegetation. It wants to be elevated. Right? And then we said that the vegetation wants to become part of chai. Chai is all animals, birds, insects, fish. Everything's part of chai. And every doimim wants to become a tzemeach, and then, of course, to become a chai. But ultimately, what does it strive to become? It tries to become a medaber. It wants to raise up to the medaber, to a human being. V'chein bein tzemeach l'chai, v'chein bein chai l'medaber, kamuva zeh b'svarim. ומבואר שם בכספים שיש בחינים המוצא בין כלליוס העולמות שברא השם יתברך והוא נפש הישראלי שהוא גבוה מאויד בשורש והוא חלק אליקה ממש. That we have our chelik on nefesh, on neshama, which is mamash, a piece of God, mamash. We have mamash godliness in us, godliness in us. And that's how we connect this world, being in this world, back to Hashem. Because we have that memutza in us. We have that thing that the neshama that's inside of us, and that's what connects us back to Hashem. It's amazing. And therefore everything's dependent on the Jewish people. So when they say it's all our fault, when the world says it is our fault. They're right. Anything that goes wrong in the world, it's our fault. It's our fault because it's upon us to make the world a better place. It's upon us to make rectifications and make the world to run in a way of harmony. It's upon us. And that's why the whole connection of the nefesh and the guf. See, we can't understand what's in Shemayim. We have to use our medamah for that, right? We have to use the medamah. We don't understand. We hear about the Gan Eden, and we know that there's all the different worlds, and we know that there's the seven firmaments. Okay, we understand, but we don't really know what it is. So it's all imagination, right? It's all imagination. It goes from one thing to the next. The imagination runs from one thing to the next. As our imagination goes, right? You imagine one thing, the next thing goes to another one, another thing, and another thing. It keeps going. And you can take two opposites and bring them together. Wow, that's this world and the upper world. The upper world is something has nothing to do with this world. But yet, with the koyach hamedame, you can bring the two hafachim, two things that are totally opposite, together. Is that amazing to understand that? The shoyrish hamedame lemala. The shoyrish of the medame, the shoyrish of the medame is lemala. It's higher and higher. B'kedusha nimshach minefesh ha'Yisraeli shu b'chinas ha'mechaberes. It's upon us to join the upper worlds to the lower worlds. The same thing we're learning when we say the words Kadosh, 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 right? We learned this idea. It's not a new concept, right? We're Kadosh in this world, we're Kadosh in the next world, and we have that memutza, the thing connecting us to. That's the Aleph we said is the same idea. The Aleph has the little dot, the little yud on the top, and the one on the bottom, and there's the vav in the middle. The vav is the memutza. It's the same idea. The same concept we're learning. It's not a different concept. In other words, we're always connecting this world to the next one. Now we're just learning it on a different idea. The words sound different, but it's the same concepts. Ube'emes, nefesh Yisraeli b'shorsha gavoya me'oid me'oid. Pi chelik elika mamash. A Jew is so high. A Jew is so lofty. Because we have a piece of Hashem within us. So of course we're very lofty. And we're bound one with Hashem in the tachlis of oneness. We're in the main purpose of one. We're really bound with Hashem. It's fascinating. And this is such an important principle. The Zohar teaches this. Hashem, v'Yisrael, and the Jewish nation. V'Iraisa kulei chad. We're one unit. We're inseparable. We're inseparable. A Jew can't be separated from Hashem. A Jew can't be separated from Torah. A Jew can't, and Hashem is connected with the Torah and the Jewish people. And of course, the Torah is connected to Hashem and the Jewish people. All three. Goes all the way around. Everyone, they're all one unit. We're one unit. The tachlis of Achdus. But this the power we have within ourselves, We have this koyach, shu ha-bechina ha-achroina shebenefesh Yisraeli, v'hu koyach ha-medame shemechaber ha-gashmi v'aruchni. And Hashem gave us this ability to imagine. And this is how we could take physicality and mend it together with spirituality. It's amazing. And that's how you get the chiyas and the nefesh for all worlds. The more we imagine Kedusha, we give more power to the world. We give more power to creation. All part of our imagination. Kamu b'svar. Shekoyach hamedame hu koyach ha'achron shebenefesh ha'adam shu bechinas koyach ha'bahami shebadam. But this is on the same token. It's a low level. Wait a second, because your mind is really greater than the medame, because also an animal has medame. An animal also imagines, right? An animal imagines again. It sees something and imagines, if I go to this thing and I attack this thing, I'll have what to eat. Does the animal know? Does the animal know if he's going to get it or not? The animal doesn't know. Right? Does the animal know that he sees that thing over there, but he doesn't know, maybe that's a trap. Maybe he's going to be trapped. He doesn't know. But what makes the animal work? It's the imagination. That's what makes us work. That's why we're learning in Sefer Vayikra. The whole Sefer Vayikra is all about the karbanos. Right? A Jew brings a carbon. Why? Because if I engaged in my imagination in the way of the imagination of Tameh, of Tumah, right? We have the opportunity, we have the ability to imagine the Medame de Kedusha or the Medame de of Tumah. Right? So if I choose the way of Tumah, so of course I do the wrong thing. I did something wrong. I acted in the way of an animal. So therefore I have to bring an animal as my tikkun because I acted that way. You understand? It's amazing. And that's why we bring animals all the time for us to recognize, wait a second, the animal also has a medama. I have a medama. I have an imagination. The animal. But I used my imagination in the wrong way. To help us train our imagination. Again, we said that's why Hashem did the whole 10 makas, in order to change our whole way of thinking, our whole way of understanding and imagining. That Hashem can do this, He can do anything. You can imagine that, right? Hashem can do anything, but imagine He can do anything. Nimtza sheikar koyach hamedame shebishashosha nimtzach minefesh ha'adam. But the nimtza sheikar koyach hamedame of the world comes from Adam. Dainu minefesh Yisraeli, a Jewish person. How powerful we are, if we only would believe it. Every single Jew is so powerful. And every single Jew can make rectifications that no guy in the world, I don't care how important the guy is, any Jew, the lowest Jew can make rectifications that no guy can do in the world because he's a Nefesh Yisraeli. And we're not talking about he as an Israeli citizen. Yisraeli means he's a Jewish person. And therefore the whole thing, connecting all the worlds and everything and making everything run perfectly in the world, harmoniously in the world, is dependent on the Jewish people. That's the secret of everything. We're learning the secret of everything. Yesod HaKol. Totally benefesh Israeli, it's all dependent on the Jewish people. V'alkein, nitztavnu lispar es bnei Yisrael ki asfiru hu bechinas hamedame. Hashem said, count the Jewish people, because the idea of counting is imagination. Right? You imagine you have so many people, they have some more power. You imagine this, not so many people, not so much power. Things the way we imagine with counting, when you have numbers, right? Again, in other words, we need something physical, right? You need something physical in order to imagine. So if you gave the Maksas HaShekel to count, right? all those coins. And that's why we counted the people. So then we imagine, wow, my Shevet is like this. The other one imagine my Shevet's like that. And it helps us use something to imagine. We read the Parsha Bamidbar before Shavuos because that's Kabbalas HaTorah. The whole point of Kabbalas HaTorah, what does Hashem do? Hashem holds the mountain over us. Hashem makes the thunder, the lightning. He makes all these sound effects, the special effects. All those special effects to help our medameh. That's the whole point. Our imagination. Ikar beira medameh, ikar amuna, chidesh oilam. The main thing is to believe that the world is always anew. Shekol oilam hayatoli ad yoim zeh, shehu shisha b'sivan. The whole world was waiting for the 6th day of Sivan, which is Shavuos. It was waiting for this date. Right? It was 26 generations, and that's why we say the Haidul Hashem Kitav Kili Olam Chazdai. If you have on Shabbos we read the chapters, right? We read the Haidul. We say that 26. There are 26 of them. Why are there 26? Because there were 26 generations from creation of the world till Vav Sivan. So we say, Haidul Hashem Kitav Kili Olam Chazdai. Hashem ran the world on chesed. He ran the world on chesed. Chesed chinam. Right? Chesed chinam. We learned a lot about that. Because the whole point of the tikkun of all the worlds is based on our imagination. And that's how you see people make inventions. And they do different things. They imagine things. Right? The tikkun of the world is based on imagination. Hashem loved Noach. Why? Right? That's when the Noach was, Hashem loved Noach. Why? He invented tools. Noach invented the first farm tools. A hoe, a shovel, right? A thatchet, different things in order to use to make tikkun in the world. Where did that come from? Medameh. That's why Noach was great, because he used his kayach medameh. You understand? I'm just giving you an example to help on the, okay. Nizbar ayedei Kabbalah Satayra shebazeh toli ikar amuna hi amuna schidish olam hu yisayid hakol. The secret is to realize we're always new and everything is new, even though it seems as if it's the same old. No, I can imagine that it's mamash something new. Aval machmas chizas sitra acher. How does the Sitra Acher, how did the Klipas attack us? Through our Medama. They want us to imagine the worst things. And hence that's why the news is always telling you the worst things. To imagine the worst things. Why? Because that's how they attack us. That's how they attack us. They don't attack us with the missile. They attack us with the thoughts in our minds in the Medama. Again, like we said, that's the nachash that put the medama into Chava, right? The idea to make Chava make the sin. Because that's again where the Eitz Hadas Tevera comes from. Bechinas Noiga. We said Noiga is what? Noiga is something parav. Right? You could use, Naiga means klipas, Naiga is something that's parav. You could use, it has the ability to rectify, but on the same hand, you can use it the wrong way. Example for that is, you take a fruit, take an apple, right? It's not Orla, it's not Neteravai, whatever. You have a nice apple that there's no problem with, right? Now you have the ability to look at the apple and to say, wow, Hashem, that's so beautiful. Look at the color of this apple. And it smells so nice, right? The apple has a nice smell, right? And then you can make the bracha. Thank Hashem for it. Well, you elevated that nefesh, right? The nefesh that was in the apple, you elevated it. Or a person looks at the apple, just takes a bite of it. So that's naiga. I had the ability to elevate it, or I lower it, right? I have what it's again. That's the bechira. The person has bechira, right?
I'm saying that thing can.
It has the ability. It has the ability to be raised, but it also can be lowered. That's noga, right? It's like you get to the road, and there's a fork in the road, right? You go to the right or the left. That's noga. Which one do you choose? Al Kain also Limnoi says Yisrael. Therefore, we're not allowed to count Jews. Right? We're not allowed to count Jews, but we count the Jews. So what happened? What happened here? Ki'im al yedei hashkolim shadloichim mehem. Oh, we don't count the Jew. We take the money, and then we count the coins. Everyone gave a machzas shekel, a half a shekel, right? And we counted up the coins from each shevet, and that's how they knew how many members there were in each shevet, right? Everyone gave their coin in, they counted them, and then they made a total counting of all the people. Kidei shelo yisachsu sitra demaisa chas v'sholem ayidei hamispa shu b'chinas hamedama. Again, everyone knows you don't count Jews. Right, there's different things that people do if they want to count for a minyan. The most popular one is you say Ashias Hamecha Baruch Urei Menaseh Mahadolim. Right, that's the favorite because 10 words in the pasuk, right, connected to the 10 pieces of bread and the 10 spheres and all of that. Okay. Shemisham Nechsu Zumas Hanachash Evi Misa Liyolam Rachman Litzlan, and that's where the Nachash all connected to the Nachash Misa, right. All from the Nachash, because before that there was no Misa in the world. And that's why when we came to Har Sinai, it was Pascha Zuma of the Nachash, and we were cleansed from it. But unfortunately we sinned with the golden calf and we brought it back. Right? Vezeu shekasa kisisa Yisroel b'nei Yisrael v'nosnu ish koifer nafshay l'Hashem v'lo yiyah bohem negef b'vkoi da'isa. Right, Hashem says to you, count the Jewish people, and they should give the koifer. Right, we'll see what that means in a minute. Ki hashkolim naisnim l'nedivas hamishkan u'lekarbanas tzibur. What were the shkolim used for? So the first shkolim that were used in the Mishkan, for the Mishkan that was given in the desert, were used for we learned that was used for the adonim, the socket, the posts. The post for the sockets of the crush of the boards. What's the word I use? What? Beams. The beams, but yeah, beams. Okay, boards, beams, whatever. And each beam had on it a foot, 2 feet, right? And there was a keresh of silver that the foot started one and the other one, and that's how the walls. That's how it stood. So the foundation of the Mishkan was what? Was from the silver that we all gave. And that means every Jew had an equal part in the Mishkan, right? Because everyone gave a machzas shekel. And all of those shkalim were melted down. And they made the Adanim with those. So every person, every Jew of the 600,000 Jews had an equal part and parcel in the foundation of the Mishkan. Beautiful, right? Okay. And later on, in the Gizbar, they had the treasury. I guess the Gizbar is the treasury. Everyone gave their machzas shekel, and they took money from that to make the carbon tamid, and we brought for the oil money for the oil for the menorah every day to buy the besamim for the ketairis and so on. This idea that we bring the carbon from an animal, like we spoke about. The animal works on the principle of imagination. The animal imagines different things. That's how you can fix the medama. You can see sometimes if people that have a dog, you can see sometimes the dog can be sleeping or just relaxing, and then the dog automatically just all of a sudden jumps. You ever see that, Mordechai?
Yep.
For what? Why did he jump for? What? Oh, he was imagining something. And make the dog jump. Animals, koyach medama. Again, I'm just trying to give you an example of how the medama works even in an animal. Okay, and therefore it's the very animal that brings you kapara, kaifer, gives you kapara. Kaifer means a forgiveness. It brings you forgiveness through the animal. Because again, I acted in that way, I bring the animal in lieu of myself. And I recognize that. I recognize it really is supposed to be me on the Mizbeach. Right? Because all sins, anyone that sins any time, is all because of bilbul amedama. They're thinking, well, if I do this, I'll enjoy this. If I do this, any sin anyone does, it's because they have a problem with the medama. Is that amazing? And that's the animal instinct in a person. Because all the taivas, which is a maisa behema, shehem bechinas zuamas anachash, who bilbal amedama shemisham kol hachatayim. That's where all sin comes from. And that's why all sins can be forgiven from bringing an animal. Because again, I acted in that way. Now I bring the animal in lieu of myself, and I can get kapara. Okay. This is the whole idea of the Maaseh of the Mishkan, making of the Mishkan. Because all of the different things that were fashioned, and all the different things that we saw, the dimyonis, all the different the illusions that we saw in the Mishkan. We had in the Mishkan the gold, the silver, the copper, the tchelis, the blue, the argaman, the crimson, whatever color they call it. Maaseh Roikin, this was done through weaving. It was an act of weaving. Maaseh Oireg. Hakol Hoya, right? The woof and the warp and whatever they would spinning the wool and whatever they were doing there. Hakol Hoya b'shvil beira medame shebay kol temunais v'adimyonis b'shvil ze lechaper ma'aseh egel, to give us forgiveness for the ma'aseh egel. Because again, we made the egel and we saw the egel, so now we started to think in that way. So Hashem, now make a Mishkan, again, use your gold. Use the things that are dear to you. Nediva slave. Anything that's dear to you, use that for the Mishkan in order to fix our imagination again. That's the whole Mishkan was only came about because of the sin of the Egel, which came about because we had a problem with our Medama again. How did we come to the Egel? We said the Satan came to every person, showed them an image in their mind that Moshe's Aron was floating was floating. We all saw that, but it wasn't true. It was an imagination. He attacked our imagination. That's what caused us to go to the Egel Azar. Damage in our imagination. So Hashem says, now make the Mishkan. The Mishkan will be a tikkun for your imagination. Now imagine all of these things in a positive way. The same way, bring an animal. You acted that way, now bring an animal to fix the medama, because everything comes based on the medama. Ubilbul medama shemisham kol kefiras, and from the bilbul medama come all the kefira. Anyone that has heresy, doesn't believe in Hashem, it's all because his medama is wrong. That's all it is. He's imagining things in another way. He's not connecting to the tzaddikim. He's not connecting to the Torah. She's not connecting to the Torah. And therefore his imagination just wanders, and then the person becomes a kaifa baker. The emunah's kozbias and all the crooked emunah that people have, all that crooked emunah. But Torah now, b'shvil zen itztavu, and therefore we were commanded by Hashem to specifically count us with the shkolim, to fix the medama in its source. Nip it in the bud. Nip it in the bud. Ki zeh yadua. She'ein adin nimtak ela b'sharshay. You can only fix the din in the shayrish. And this is the whole idea of kashering kalim for Pesach, right? You have an idea of libun, you have agola, you have irui, different ways to kasher things. The way it was pogum, that's the way you have to kasher it. If it got its pagam using a big fire, it was in the oven, so then you have to use libun, right? If it was something that it just came in contact with chametz, but it wasn't heated in the thing, so then hagol is good. Boil up water, stick the kli, whatever it is, your vessel, in the pot. Let it sit in there for a couple of seconds. Take it out, run it under cold water. Now you cleaned it, right? Because again, the way it was paigim, that's the way you can fix it. So if the thing was only involved with being paigim with water, let's say hot water, but it wasn't cooked itself, wasn't a kli rishon, it was a kli sheni, right? So then you could do it with hagolah, right? Let's say your counters and different things, right? Sinks, right? So the sink, you're not cooking in the sink. So you could take the hot water, you could be moishik the water, you could the shayfish the water, you could pour the water on the sink, right? On the walls of the sink, and then you can purify and kasher the sink. This is how things work. That's how the whole kasher works. Because of this concept. She'ein adin nimtak ela b'sharshay. The din is only fixed in its shayrish. How it... Okay. Ubishvil zeh nikrayim shkolim. And that's why they're called shkolim. Ki sham b'bechinas hamedame ikka hamishkol v'hamit kila. And that's the way you're measuring, weighing, bein taiv l'ra. You're measuring whether things are good. And we always have to measure in our minds, am I doing the right thing or the wrong thing? Right? Kisham ikra bechina nisayin. That's the main point of the nisayin. So again, and a nice thing to always do is this. Before you do anything, you always say to yourself, if I'm going to do this, is this going to make Hashem proud of me? Whatever you're going to do. Is this going to make Hashem proud? And if it will, then go ahead and do it. If it won't, then don't do it. But you have to use the imagination, the koyach hamedama. So if people think that imagination is a silly thing, we're learning it's really the highest of the high. It's really the highest. Okay, let's learn one halacha, please. Any questions before we finish? Any questions?
The gold that they were talking about, so that's also noga? Mm-hmm. Like, is gold also noga, right?
Yeah, you can use it for the golden calf, or you can use it for the Mishnah, make a menorah. Golden calf or menorah, right? Right, the menorah was made, and the kruvim, they had to be made out of solid gold. That's where Hashem spoke to Moshe Rabbeinu, bein hakruvim, between the kruvim. Had to be solid gold. We also made a golden calf. Hashem says, use gold this way. Now use gold the right way.
Right. So most things are noga, and that's
you can anything right.
You
exactly. You can fix it. It can be fixed. It can be fixed. Yeah. Something
Even
that
the
can.
internet.
Huh?
Even the internet.
Yeah, you can use.
Phone,
you can.
Like yesterday, we got the app with all Torah on it, right? With the English.
Yeah, you can use your phone, and you can use all things for good or for bad. It has the ability. It's not that it's only bad on it. It's just equally as good. It may seem that the bad shows up more. You may think that way because again, that's the imagination. All right, let's learn halach and Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. We're in Lamed Vav. We're learning the laws of malicha, of salting meat. Please, Hashem, send us Mashiach, the building of the Beis HaMikdash. We can bring the Karban Pesach. We still have time. We can bring the Karban Pesach. We can bring the Karban Pesach. We'll have to know how to salt the meat. So we learn. You slaughter the animal. After you slaughter the animal, you skin the animal. Then you start to do the butchering, right? You start to cut the meat up, right? So then each piece of meat that you do, you have to soak in the water for at least 30 minutes, right? You soak it for 30 minutes. Make sure the water is not too cold. It should be like regular room temperature water. You don't want it cold because again, I don't want the blood to not to be released. I'd like the blood to be released. Whatever blood I can get rid of from washing it, I'd like to do that. And then we take the meat and then we have to salt it, right? That's what we're learning about now. So we have to know these things because we're going to bring the korban Pesach. We're going to have to know what to do with it, right? All right. So it's in Yana D'Yayma. How do you like that? Okay. What are we up to today?
7.
We're up to 7?
I think so.
No, I thought we were up to 6.
6. Okay, here we go. Hakli hamiyuchad l'shrias basar ein l'shtamish by l'dava acher shel machel. If you have a kli that you use, a vessel that you use to soak your meat in, right? We're talking about soaking the meat. So if you have a big pot or something else, you don't use that only for meat. Don't use it to soak meat. Don't use it for any other food, because again, what's that?
It's David's phone.
Or the kli, there's a pagam. It goes into the walls of the kli, and we don't want it to be the dam released into the mamoshes of the dam released into any other food. So don't use the kli for any other thing. Right? Again, we're using the koyach hamedam to understand that there's koyach. There's a koyach of the mamoshes of the food that's in there. I can't see it, but it's there. Again, koyach hamedam.
Rishima, it's similar to the Rishima.
It's a rishima left in there. Yeah, there's a rishima left in there. And it's the mamoshes of the thing. Yeah. All right, everyone should have a wonderful day. And again, don't forget we have the beautiful mitzvah tonight of Baitkin the Lechamitz Lara Ner B'Yom Yudalit. Right, this is the Mishnah in Pesachim, a beautiful Mishnah, right? And specifically with a candle. Chazal tell the different rabbis, the rabbis today say, the contemporary Paiskim that say that you can use, if you're afraid of a candle, you can use a flashlight, a panache, you can use a flashlight if you're worried about that. And just one more thing, you should not use, it's orla ner, not an avuka. You don't use a torch. Don't use a torch because again, if you do use a torch, you're not going to be careful to search because you're afraid you'll burn things. Right? So don't use a torch. That's why it's orla ner, specifically a candle. With a candle, you can see. And then it's asked why do you do the bedika at night? If you want to be baidik for something, do it during the day. You can see better during the day, right? Open the shades, right, and look in the house. No, but to look in the cracks and the crevices, you can't see that during the day. You can only see that at night, only through the light of a candle, because a candle is what? The neshama, right? It's the neshama. Use your neshama to search out all the chametz in the house, and that's why it has to be done at night. Okay? Everyone should have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining Kol Tuv.